Always a lot of logistics and logistical challenges in any statistical organization. In fact, Statistics South Africa, the main things that we do, or at least you must be competent in all the 5 things. I don't claim to be competent in those, but I suppose you have to be aware of those 5 things. The first being you have to know the intellectual toil of the work that you do. So you've got to be good at statistics or demography or any cogent subject that deals with statistics. Second thing is that you've got to be good at knowing how technology works and how it functions. You've got to be good at managing logistics, because if you see where the questionnaires were collected and then we put them through scanners, the movement of those questionnaires through scanners generate terabytes of data, out of which you just get kilobytes of data. So you got these things written on pieces of paper, they get scanned, and then huge terabytes of data, and then you extract the data from the paper, and then you get your data set. That requires a lot of knowledge of logistics, besides just the technology. And then, of course, the fourth thing is knowing the administration. You don't want the Auditor General saying that we got a qualified audit, which we got, by the way, after the census. And then finally, you got to manage the politics. If you get these numbers wrong, you get a lot of problems, a lot of flack. I'm sure you were entertained seriously about the issues around the undercount in the census, that so-and-so says the undercount was higher, says the Statistician General preferred a lower one. I suppose there are no preferences in these things you measure, and what you get is what you get. Now, a number of you here, well, I don't know where you were in 1950. I doubt if anybody was there already in 1950 in this room. I wasn't. No, I doubt. I think it's a serious claim to saying that you were born in 1950 already. Now, let's see. The world had 2.6 billion people in 1950. Today, there are 7-point-something billion. So we have grown more than twice that number. And this is where, let's look at the countries then. This is how the countries were like in 1950. And you can see China over there. They have already started moving ahead of my splitting them. But I'll get back to that. But you can see China actually growing, and India. This side, we are measuring life expectancy. So if you were born in 1950, by now you will be about 63. And here we are measuring income. So let's try and look at these countries then, and let's see how they have actually grown over time. You can see China and the revolution there, that revolution that they had. You could see that life expectancy dropped and went up. And then India rising there. In that period, also, South Africa had its own experiences of HIV and AIDS, as well as increasing life expectancy. South Africa, relatively high level of income, but a low life expectancy at about 40, similarly to India and others. The Scandinavian countries were already up there, including income. Now let's play and see how South Africa has. Actually, you can see that South Africa was actually growing in terms of income, in terms of life expectancy and income in the 60s and the 70s. Income and life expectancy, you can see going up. But by the 80s, there were sanctions and they started to bite. Income freezes. And then by the 90s, we are visited by HIV and AIDS. Life expectancy drops. And then by the 2000s, and then antiretrovirals come, and the life expectancy begins to grow. And we are having life expectancy that is about 59 now. Those who are above 59 should be dead by now. But fortunately, none of you is above 59 here, so don't expect to die soon. By province, this is what we are getting. By rank, we suddenly see Gauteng becoming bigger than KwaZulu-Natal. In September, I was in KwaZulu-Natal, and in October, we released the results. I had the benefit of being with the Premier, and the Premier was saying, when the results come, we will know how many we are because we will plan better. And I was there sitting there knowing what was coming, that Gauteng was going to be bigger. And I was afraid to talk to him and say, Premier. And of course, when the results came, Gauteng was bigger than KwaZulu-Natal, and he accepted the results. He's a scientist. We are obsessed with our racial classification. That's black, Indian, colored, Indian, and white. So these are the proportions of population by race in the country. It's a very interesting one here, and the issues that we worry about are about what you call the demographic dividend. In particular, dividend, I'm sure as MBA students, you learn about dividends and that you have to invest in order to earn a dividend. Now, here is age and here is percentage distribution. This is 0 age, that's where they are, and this is 8 years and above. That's the club of Madiba and others above that one, living beyond 90 years old. Well, on average, we are around here in this room, so we have to go 4 times to get to 80 years. And I'm sure you are investing in yourselves here so that you can earn that demographic dividend when you are about 40. This is the age pyramid of the country. And we know we are obsessed with our race, and this is the age pyramid of whites. And you can see that smaller this side, bigger there. You look like a pregnant person there. And that's what a demographic benefit could be, but it has to be accompanied by resources, money, and the like. And this is the pyramid of blacks. Now, the question is, will there be demographic? What is it that needs to be done to get to demographic dividend? This is the colored one, Claude Boom and Tim Kulu, and then the Indian one. Now, it's income here. See, this is income here. The height measures the number of people that are in that income bracket, and that's income. That's a black income. It's for black men, and let's look at what women actually get. See now, this gets even higher, and this becomes a little bit more steeper. And then you go to white income, see how it moves that. Matches to the right, and then you see, look at the one of men, even further. So that's the distribution of income. The issue, the challenge, is you see, statistically, I'm sure you have looked at something called the normal curve or the bell-shaped curve. This is not bell-shaped. It's like a camel or a Brahman ox. Let's go to white here. See, there's a bit of bell-shapedness here, although skewed a lot more to the right, as you can see that. But it's also smooth. This has a very huge implication in terms of the challenges that we have. These people are trapped, literally trapped. And the bridge is needed here to make this normal. It's not easy. Here are your social grants, trapped here. They can't move. There's no bridge that helps them to cross. So they're trapped there until they're dead. And their children will be trapped there until the children also grow up and then die. That's the tragedy that we have. That's amongst black men, and that's amongst black women. It's worse amongst black women. And then, of course, you go to the main black colored population. You can see it moves a bit to the right. With women, it will move back to the right. So you can start a song about how to march to the right or march to the left. And you can see the Indian one is moving that way. Thank you very much.